Video games have been a massive part of the Dragon Ball franchise for almost its entire lifetime. The very first Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Dragon Dahiko, was released in 1986 for the Super Cassette Vision. This was only 2 years after the first chapter of the original Dragon Ball manga was released. And since then, the series has had some terrific outings, albeit a few hiccups along the way. But as you've no doubt seen by the title of the video, today we will be counting down the top 10 greatest Dragon Ball games of all time, ranking them according to their mechanics, story, uniqueness, and staying power and overall polish. So without further ado, let's get to it. Number 10, Dragon Ball Online. Developed by NTL and released in 2010 for PC, Dragon Ball Online is now a deactivated MMORPG. Players could create their own character to explore the Dragon Ball world with. An interesting wrinkle the game had to this though, is that the player's avatar actually starts out as a child, and grows older the further the player progresses through the game, emulating the journey of many characters in the series such as Goku and Gohan. The game also boasts a very intriguing story that was heavily overseen by the series creator himself, Akira Toriyama. It takes place in age 1000, over 200 years after the end of the manga. This world is rich with new lore and characters including the main villains Towa and Mira. The duo came from the Demon Realm to invade Earth and attack its timeline. Players must travel through time with the help of future Trunks to take them and their mind-controlled soldiers down. This may sound very familiar to the fans of the Xenoverse games, as these concepts were recycled for the series after this game was shut down. This brings us to why the game is at the bottom of this list. Its servers were shut down after only 3 years of being active, and unfortunately, during that time the game never saw a worldwide release. The game truly could have had something special if given a longer lifespan and a wider audience, though there are multiple fan revivals of the game if players still want to experience this hidden gem. Number 9. Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. Developed by Dimps and released in 2004 for the Game Boy Advance, this game details the journey of Son Goku from his first encounter with Bulma to a showdown with the Demon King Piccolo in the form of 2D, side-scrolling, and a beat-em-up. The game has 3 different level types throughout its story mode: platforming levels, flying levels, and one-on-one boss battles. And all 3 of these level types are presented to the player in an entertaining and filled to the bursting package. There is a lot of game to be played here, with a plethora of locations from the series, 30 different playable characters, and mini-games to keep you busy for a surprisingly long time. Number 8. Dragon Ball Extreme Budokan. Developed by Arc System Works and released in 2015 for the Nintendo 3DS, a 2D fighting game that has some absolutely gorgeous sprite works and roster made up of 25 characters, and a massive amount of assist characters that can be summoned to aid you in battle. Battles in Extreme Budokan can be waged on both the ground and in sky, and each of these locations offer opportunity for different attacks. On the ground, you can knock your opponent into the air and follow up with some more attacks to chain together for some lengthy combos. Or you can slam your enemies back onto the ground from the air to do some extra damage. One can clearly see the techniques and styles Arc Systems would use in a later project on display in this game. And while this game is a very fun and quite beautiful, it's still just a stepping stone for an even greater game. Number 7. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Developed by Dimps and released in 2016 for PC, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. Golly, that's a lot of systems. This game has somewhat an infamous reputation among the fandom for its seemingly never-ending DLC packs. And while a good amount of it may be stuck behind a paywall, one cannot deny the amount of content is packed into this game. Taking cues from Dragon Ball Online, players can create their own character to be recruited into the Time Patrol to protect the time stream from the evil Towa and Mira. But with the new storylines constantly being added, Xenoverse 2 more than stands on its own. This game takes on the Dragon Ball lore and just has fun with it, playing fast and loose with the canon to create a mind-bending, reality-hopping adventure with your favorite original characters at the center of it all. And while there may be a mountain of things to do, the game can get a bit repetitive and mind-numbing after a certain point. This and the fact that the gameplay is mechanically not very different than its predecessor holds Dimps' cash cow back from being something really special. Number 6. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Developed by CyberConnect 2 and released in 2020 for the PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia, Kakarot is an action RPG that retells the events of Dragon Ball Z, with the inclusion of DLC packs, some of the early Dragon Ball Super stories. In between fights, players can roam around the colorful, detailed areas that feel right at home in Toriyama's world. Players are encouraged to explore by being awarded small blurbs and factoids that explain some of the idiosyncrasies of the world, and to take part in the smaller slice-of-life aspects of the Dragon Ball world. And while the game does retell the story we are all familiar with, it presents it in such a gorgeous fashion. The game's cutscenes are absolutely jaw-dropping, really showing off the power and speed of the characters with buttery smooth animations and dazzling effects. Unfortunately though, Not all of the cutscenes are crafted with this much care. A good amount are simply characters standing still while the player clicks through multiple, boring, downright torturous text boxes. And some are even less than this. At times, a text box simply appears on a black screen while nothing happens. This and annoying repeated dialogue lines while exploring the overworld can make the experience feel a bit unpolished. The fights are surprisingly difficult at times, requiring the player to buff their characters to craft food and health items that support them in battle. The fight itself is somewhat similar to other Dragon Ball Arena fighters, such as Raging Blast, but Kakarot imbues them with a sense of speed and kinetic fervor that truly makes you feel like a super warrior. Number 5. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2. Developed by Spike and released in 2012 for PS3 and Xbox 360. This is another addition to the Dragon Ball Arena Fighters family, supporting an impressive lineup of characters from the main series and movies alike, including even some what-if characters like Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Broly. Another way this game goes against the grain is not having different transformations be separate characters. Fighters are able to transform in the middle of battle to power up and gain access to new movesets. Characters like Frieza even have access to 4 transformations that they can access at any time. Foregoing the typical Dragon Ball game route of retelling the Saiyan arc through the Buu arc, Raging Blast 2 opts for a series of increasingly difficult battle scenarios that are specific to each character. And with the size of this roster, this game will definitely keep you busy for quite a while. Coming in at number 4, we have Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Developed by Spike and released in 2007 for the PlayStation 2 and Wii, this Arena Fighters roster is absolutely massive, with 98 characters and 161 forms. This was the largest roster in a fighting game at the time of its release. Spike would go on to create the Raging Blast series, but it would never quite reach the same heights as the Budokai Tenkaichi series. The game fully embraces the insanity of the Dragon Ball fights, with characters and ki blasts whizzing around the screen almost faster than the player can keep up with. There isn't much in the way of balance in the characters, but with a lineup of this size, that doesn't really matter. Just revel in the chaos and enjoy the fight. Number 3. Dragon Ball Fusions. Developed by Genbaron and released in 2016 for the 3DS, Fusions is quite a unique entry on this list. The main hook of this game is obviously the fusions, but unlike the actual series, in this game you can literally fuse anyone. You want Beerus and Whis? No problem. You want Goku and Broly? You got it. Fusions is also one of the few Dragon Ball games to have a completely original story. Instead of retelling the events of the series as so many other games have, players take control of their own created character who, along with their rival, use the Dragon Balls to wish for the ultimate martial arts contest to decide who the greatest fighter ever is. This wish creates a rift in space and time, smashing all eras of Dragon Ball together, resulting in a space-time tournament. The battle mechanics are also something quite unique to this title. The matchup consists of 5 versus 5 brawls in a dynamic turn-based system. Players must take into account the direction of their attacks so they can either knock them into their own fighters doing extra damage or into their enemies to spread the damage out. And icing on the cake, the game supports an impressive hub world, absolutely littered with references and inside jokes that diehard fans are sure to love. With the charming chibi-like art style and fun and energetic battles, an exciting new original story, Dragon Ball Fusions more than earns its spot on this list. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, do yourself a favor and hunt down a copy. Number 2. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Developed by Dimps and released in 2004 for PS2, this game is just pure, unadulterated fun. When people think of Dragon Ball games, this is most likely one of the first ones that come to mind. Despite being released 18 years ago, this game still has a colossal presence within the Dragon Ball community. And with good reason too. Like the other arena battlers in this series, this game has a sizable character roster. This game also has what may be just the best opening out of any Dragon Ball game, with stunning visuals and amazing vocals by none other than Hironobu Kageyama. The combat is very solid and does an excellent job of capturing the spirit of Dragon Ball battles. The hits feel very heavy and impactful, and ultimate attacks are huge and bombastic, doing justice to the high-octane fights and super moves we all know and love. And finally, number 1, the game we all know and love, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Developed by Arc System Works and released in 2018 for the PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, Fighters is a true love letter to the series, on top of being an amazingly deep and rewarding competitive fighting game. Practically every single attack animation is ripped straight from the source material. Almost every single alternate color is a reference to another outfit of that character or a different character altogether. The auto combo mechanic and relatively easy to pull off super moves makes it quite simple for newcomers to fighting games to grasp. But the game also allows more competitive players to spend hours upon hours practicing and mastering insanely long combos to completely wipe out the enemy's health bar. The game is also one of the few to contain an original story, spearheaded by the brand new character designed by Akira Toriyama, Android 21. While it can be a bit of a slog to get through at times, the story mode offers some pretty unique elements, actually inserting the players into narrative by having them possess and talk to characters we all know and love, as well as showcasing some pretty hilarious interactions between characters that never had a chance to meet in the actual series, like Gotenks and Nappa. Despite being released 4 years ago as of writing this, the game still has a pretty massive presence online, with people still hoping for even more DLC to be added, and the game still having a place at EVO, the biggest esports fighting game tournament. The game is absolutely dripping with love for the series, and is a masterfully crafted fighting game to boot, making it what many consider to be the greatest Dragon Ball video game of all time. Well, that's all for this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed our list. I'm Adrian Anonymous, and until we meet again, see you guys. Peace.